I was viciously humbled today. Let's talk about it. So, I'm on a dog walk, right? And the dog that I was walking obviously had to do his business. So, I try not to make eye contact with the dogs when they're trying to do their business, but for whatever reason, every time they're side-eyeing me like this. They're fully doing their business and they're I'm like, I'm trying to give you your privacy, sir. Relax. So the dog's side-eyeing me like this, and I'm like, all right, well, I have to go get the dog bag out, right? So I take the dog bag out like this, and I'm fumbling around with the bag. I'm like, I can't get the dog bag open, okay? I'm fumbling with the dog bag like a literal idiot, pretty much sending out a Batman signal to anybody 10 feet from me, oh, this bitch is about to pick up dog shit right now. You could hear it if you were 10 feet from me, the crinkling of the bag, literally, the crinkling of the bag. I couldn't open it. It's flailing around in the wind. I'm like, this is just great. So then finally, after it feels like a lifetime, I get the bag open and I have to, scoop up the dog droppings, if you're catching my drift. So I go to scoop it up, and I'm not only scooping up the dog droppings, I'm also scooping up snow. You got a real 2-for-1 deal going here, right? I'm like, oh my God, this is so gross and nasty. So the dog's looking at me and I'm looking at the dog so I had to just scoop it up, put it in the trash, but man, was that a humbling experience. Imagine just sitting there fumbling with this. I couldn't open the bag. You have to open it like this and then pick it up. I couldn't open the bag. Was crinkling it, basically setting out a bat signal. Hey, this bitch is about to pick up dog shit. Okay. Speaking of humbling experiences, I don't know if you have ever been in a smelly Uber, okay? I think Uber should come with a smell rating, but recently I have only been in smelly Ubers, and it's almost always been a male Uber driver. It's never been a woman Uber driver, and it smells like Fritos and feet. And for whatever reason, it smells like Fritos and feet, and they're blasting the heat, and they have all the windows rolled up, and they're hotboxing and fermenting in the smell. I'm like, why are you fermenting in this Fritos and feet smell right now? This is not it. So I get in this Uber, this was last week, and it smelled like Fritos and feet, right? I'm like, oh my God, it smells awful in here. So I go to the driver. I'm like, hey, do you mind rolling down the window? You would have thought I asked this man to cancel the ride. He looked so pissed. He was offended that I asked him to roll down the window. I'm sorry. I don't want to ferment in your funk of Fritos and feet. I think that's more than fair. There needs to be a smell rating for these Lyfts and Ubers because it's atrocious. It is so nasty. Nothing worse than getting an Uber that smells awful. It was awful. Also, Teslas, I don't know if you've ever been in a Tesla. Every time I get in a Tesla, specifically the SUVs, I get majorly car sick. So I used to work for the Real, and we used to have to Uber all over New York City. So we had a comped Uber account. So anytime I would get a Tesla, immediately would cancel it. I'm like, no, cancel the ride. I want out. Every time I get in a Tesla, I get so car sick and just feel awful after the ride. It would feel terrible, sick, just nasty. But yeah, Ubers need a smell rating. I need to know what my poor nose is getting into, right? When I get in that car, I need to know. We need to have a scale from 1 to 5. 5 being fresh new car smell. It smells like daisies and gain and wonder in this car. And 1 being Fritos and feet. Because the smells on some of these Ubers, oh my God. And I don't understand how they're baking in the smell. How do you not even have a window open? They're fermenting in it. It's disgusting. I can't. It's so bad. We need a smell rating for Ubers and Lyfts because it has gotten out of control, just out of control. Also, I feel every time it's that car, for whatever reason, that it's a Fritos and feet ride, they're always on FaceTime with their wives or girlfriends for hours. And they're just talking to her and driving, and then the Fritos and feet smell. And they're oh, this is just my side job. And I'm like, what real job do you have that it's socially acceptable for you to show up smelling like Fritos and feet? What is your real job if this is your side hustle and your car smells like Fritos and feet? I was just genuinely curious. I'm like, what do they really do during the day if this is just the side hustles, it's smelling like Fritos and feet. But speaking of love, I don't really believe in love, like not at least in the traditional sense. So what type of love do I believe in, right? I believe in platonic love. I believe in friendship love, which is like the same thing. I believe in love with pets, love with dogs. If you have a cat, even if you have a fish, you can love your fish, right? Your little goldfish swimming around the bowl. Or maybe you have a betta fish, okay? Maybe you just like some more color. I don't really know. I believe in family love, love with your family, love between, if you have kids, with your kids. I just do not believe in romantic love. And I'll tell you a few examples why I just don't really buy into that anymore. There's been times that I thought I've been in love, right? And I've gotten out of the relationship and I questioned myself. I was like, was I in love with them or was I in love with the potential of what they could become? So was I in love with them or the potential of what they could become? I learned the hard way that you can't fall in love with someone's potential. Sorry, I keep moving. You can't fall in love with someone's potential. You have to fall in love with who they are as a person at that moment. But I don't, again, believe in that kind of love. So you can't be in love with the potential of what they could potentially become, right? So when you meet them and what they're doing right now at that time, that's what you have to like about that person. I always mess up opening this water bottle. So bottom line, you can't be falling in love with potential. So I do believe that you can love people such as your friends or family or your dogs. My mom has 2 dogs, Maribel and Maylee, Boston Terriers. Shout out to them if they're watching this. So I believe you can love like that. I'm also a dog walker and a dog sitter. So I do believe in love with pets, right? And with friends, I have great relationships with all my friends. But like I said, I don't believe in romantic love. And the thing that scares me is you can get married off that feeling of romantic love. You can sign a legally binding, life-altering contract based off of a feeling. Now, I don't know about you guys watching. What other scenario would you be doing that? Would you be doing that if you were getting a new job? Would you be doing that if you were signing for a new apartment, for a house, getting a boat? No, right? So why is it okay to be signing contracts like that are binding and life-altering based off a feeling of love, a feeling that's fleeting? Romantic love is fleeting, that feeling, right? It's not like love with a dog. You come home every day, your dog is sitting at the door wagging its tail waiting for you and excited and happy to see you, whether you had a bad day, good day, or whatever. You can't text your dog. I wish I could text my mom's dogs. That would be sick. If someone ever invents that, please sign me up. But I just don't believe in romantic love in that kind of way. And I want to clarify, so I really question why you would put yourself in a legally binding decision based off of a feeling, which is what I went over. I just really can't wrap my head around it. And I want to clarify, in no way I'm saying this because I'm jaded or because I'm unhappy. I'm just genuinely confused why someone would want to put themselves in a situation like that, in a legally binding situation like that, based off of a feeling of love in a romantic way. I just am confused by that because in no other life scenario are you putting yourself in a legally binding situation based off of a feeling. I just find that very confusing. So exactly what I said. So it's wild to me. My friends always call me at the worst times. I love them, but sorry, no. It's wild to me to see a lot of men in their late 20s scramble and settle down and just get married to the first girl closest to them. It's interesting to watch because you have to wonder, is it because society is pressuring them to settle down, to find a nice girl, to get married? Or is life simply easier for them since they are married? Is life just easier for men once they get married? Or is it society that's pressuring them? Oh, you need to settle down. You need to find a nice girl. You need to get married. You need to start your life. I question that because I'm like, which one is it? I also see that a lot of men tend to do this thing when their friends are getting engaged or married or getting into serious relationships. They see that happening and they immediately jump into a serious relationship or they're getting engaged because they see that their friends are doing that. So it's like, oh, I guess it's a societal norm. Let me just get into a relationship, a serious relationship, or marry someone or whatever, get a girlfriend, get a fiance, get a wife. So it's kind of wild to me. And it's also wild because some of these people, and sometimes it does work out. Again, I'm not trying to sound jaded, but some of these people will only know each other for like a year and a half and then be engaged and married. I don't personally believe that a year and a half is enough time to get to know somebody to do such a serious commitment like that. If you're getting married, you are stuck with that person. Even if you're divorced, if you have kids with that person, you still have to co-parent with that person if you have children with them, okay? If they have parental rights, you have to co-parent with them, which is insane. Like I said, this might work for some people, but as I said, I don't think it's enough time to get to know somebody. I think it leads to mismatched expectations, a divorce, or an unhappy marriage. Not all the time, but it can lead to that, which is why I just don't think it's enough time to be doing stuff like that. So my dad, he has a lot of sayings, right? I'm sure many of your dads out there do, or your parents out there have a lot of different sayings. I don't really listen to a lot of what my dad says, especially his sayings, but there is one in particular that is great advice and has stuck with me. My dad always says that when you first meet a guy, you meet their representative, which I wholeheartedly believe. So you might be thinking, I really fell off the wagon this time. What the hell is she talking about now? It means that when you first meet a guy, you're meeting the version of themselves that they want you to see. So you could say it's the best version of themselves. Maybe it's not. Maybe they are just hiding away all the bad shit, like skeletons in the closet waiting for Halloween, but they're just showing you what they want to show you in the given moment. So they want you to see what you perceive them as. So similar but not the same, when you have guests over and you take out fine china and you're setting a table and you want the guests to think, oh, they're really fancy, but you're taking the fine china out and setting that up when they first come over so they get a good first impression off of you, right? So they're presenting what they assume is the best version of themselves to you, right? And after some time, the mask will slip down like a masquerade ball and you get to see the real them. And 9 times out of 10, it's not what you signed up for. You're like, who the hell is this person? This isn't what I signed on for. This is not the personality or who they presented themselves to be when I first met them. And it's been a few months, it could be years, it could be decades. And then finally that mask falls off and you get to see the real them and you're like, this is not what I signed on for. And you realize they're a completely different person. And most times people are like, hey, fuck this isn't what I signed on for, and they leave. Sometimes it takes time for them to leave because they become so emotionally attached to this person that it takes some more time for them to leave. I think the worst shit you can say to somebody in a moment like that is, hey, you should have chosen better. How on earth is someone supposed to choose better when the person is not presenting themselves out to be exactly who they are at the start and for decades, years, months after? It takes time, like I said, to get to know somebody, but it's the biggest slap in the face. Well, you should have chose better. How are we supposed to choose better when the information isn't being accurately presented to us? The information is not being accurately presented to us, so how are we supposed to make a good decision based off false information? It is that simple, people. And they're just not being honest and they're having a whole act. So it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. To tell someone to choose better, you're also shifting the accountability, right? So you're shifting the accountability to the person who got tricked instead of shifting onto the person who's putting up this facade and this fake act and this fake personality. The accountability should be on them. Hey, why are you such a piece of shit that you need to go around and fake a whole personality? Are you really that boring, that uninteresting? Are you really that much of a terrible person that you can't show your real personality because nobody would want to be with you? That's where the accountability should be. It should be on the person faking the personality, not on the other person saying, oh, well, you should have chose better. It's not being accurately presented. The information isn't being accurately presented to somebody. So how could they have chosen better? It's like studying for a different material for a different test. It's like studying, biology for a mathematics test. It doesn't make any sense. So you can't choose better. At the end of the day, the accountability should be on the person who's faking their personality, because you should be asking, not, oh, you should have chose better. Why? Why is this person faking their personality? Are they really a terrible person underneath all that? What are they hiding? Are they hiding something pretty big? What skeletons do they have in the closet waiting to take out for Halloween? That's what you should be asking yourself. Not, oh, she should have chosen better. That's shifting accountability and blame. Don't like it. So I just think it's a slap in the face. So I want to say this too. If anyone's been in a situation and hasn't heard it yet, I'm proud of you for leaving someone who is catfishing their personality. I'll say that again. I'm proud of you for leaving someone who is catfishing their personality. If they acted like a good person and then switched up and you left immediately, good for you. Good for you. I'm happy for you, genuinely happy for you, because I have been in that situation personally so many times. And when I left, I'm like, holy shit, this is a completely different person. This is not what I signed on for, right? I do think also, going off that, it is crazy to deal with a guy who is chasing or obsessing over you for years, and they brand themselves always as a good guy. 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, I'm just a good guy. They're chasing, obsessing over you, but secretly they have the worst intentions for you, you know? And they finally get you. And it's like the Christmas present that they've had on their list for years, and it's Christmas morning, they open it up, they play with it for 5 minutes, and they're over it. That's what it's like, because they finally get you, and they're like, you know what? Really wasn't worth it, and they walk away. And you're just like, wait, what? This person was yearning and chasing me for years. Why are they just suddenly leaving? And that has everything to do with them, because they are so obsessed with the chase that it's not really about you. They're obsessed with the chase, with the game, with obsessing over you. So it doesn't really have anything to do with you. It's more on them, and it's weird behavior. Like, I just would not want to deal with that. But personally, they love also, I want to say this. They love the idea of you. They like the concept. They don't actually love you as a person. So like the idea of you, the idea of chasing someone, the idea of chasing someone and getting someone. Think of almost like, if you've seen a greyhound race ever on like TikTok. I've seen a few of them, and they chase that little rabbit toy down the track, and then finally they catch it. And once they catch it, they're over it. That is like a guy who chases and obsesses over you for years and then is over it. So now, when I see that behavior out of guys, I tend to shy away from guys like that, because I know what they're all about. I've been down this rabbit hole 100 times of dealing with guys like that. And I know how it's going to turn out. So I'd rather just focus on myself. As soon as I see that behavior, like, I'm out. Like, I am out like a bat out of hell. But that's why, I just don't really entertain guys like that. Honestly, most men tend to center themselves, and I just decided to take a page out of their book, because I'm like, why not at this rate? So the thing is, objectively speaking, when you are an attractive woman, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm such an attractive woman. I know I'm not ugly, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm an attractive woman. I'm not going to say that. But objectively speaking, when you are an attractive woman, a pretty woman, you see the worst sides to men, right? You will have men, I wrote this down, you'll have men that are married with kids DMing you, even though you never answer, and they will be having a psychosis, like one-sided conversation with themselves in your Instagram DMs, and you eventually have to DM their wife, right? So you see that, and you're like, is this what my future holds for me? Is this what's going to happen when I'm married with kids? I'm going to have a husband out here DMing 20-something-year-old girls on Instagram and asking them for pictures. Is this what my future holds? Because you see that stuff, right? And you're just like immediately turned off to it. You're like, is this what's going to happen to me in the future? I'm going to get married to this guy, date him for years, spend money on a wedding, spend money on a honeymoon, get married, have his kids, be spending money on his kids, giving up my body, my time, my career for this guy, for him to go on Instagram and DM 20-something-year-old girls and be embarrassing me. So yeah. So like, again, like I said, paid for the wedding, paid for a honeymoon, probably paid for all or part of the house, right? Spent holidays with this man and his family, spent all this time that you can't get back. You had 2 kids with him, which I'm sure altered her mind and body forever. And he's out here fully having a conversation with himself in a 22-year-old's DMs. So I think that's what Vogue kind of hit on with the having a boyfriend is embarrassing article, because that man is out there embarrassing her, right? Because when that happened to me, because this happened to me at 22, I had this guy DMing me, having full conversations with himself in my Instagram DMs, and I had to DM the wife. And that was so awful, having to go on that guy's Instagram, and like, he has full pictures up of like him and his wife and their kids. And you go to her page, and like her whole page is like about her kids and her marriage and her life. And like, this guy's out here DMing me, asking me for pictures. Like, I never answered him once, not one time, but he was having a full conversation with himself. And you can't help to think of her and putting yourself in her shoes and being like, is this what's going to happen to me? That I'm going to spend all this time, all this money, give up my career, my life, have kids with this guy, buy a house with this person, spend money on a honeymoon, a wedding, and this is what's going to come to him DMing some 22-year-old something in her DMs. Like, I think that's what Vogue meant about it being embarrassing, because he is embarrassing her by doing that. I had to witness that. I'm some random stranger. I obviously don't know them, but it was just like so disheartening. So then you also have men, right, when you work in the workforce, they complain about their wives, how annoying they are, how they got fat or lazy or whatever. I had an old boss like that who every day he'd come into work, he would be like, ugh, my wife this, my wife that, constant complaining. I'm sure the wife has no idea that he would go into work and constantly complain. But again, that's embarrassing for her. Like, him airing her out to a bunch of coworkers. Like, I didn't know her. I never met her. But he's like airing her out, calling her fat, lazy. Like, that's when it's having a husband or having a boyfriend is embarrassing. That's when it's embarrassing, right? When they're airing you out like that. And you have to think, oh my God, this wife probably has no idea. Why would you, like, seeing just those two examples, why would you ever want to get married or want that for yourself, right? Because it's like, is this what's going to happen in my life? Like, I'm going to get married and my husband's going to be DMing 22-year-olds or be coming into the office and talking shit about me to all his coworkers. Meanwhile, this woman had 2 of his kids and has a whole life with him and probably goes around and tells everybody how amazing he is. Meanwhile, he's out here shit-talking his wife to his coworkers. Terrible. Then you have men who, of course, have girlfriends or wives and will openly hit on you at the bars. I've seen this now 100 times. It's happened to me. It's happened to my friends. It's happened to, I'm sure, tons of people I don't even know. And they're just like, oh, yeah, whatever. You know, we've been going through a rough patch in our relationship. Go talk about it with her. Go to couples therapy. Why the hell are you at a bar hitting on other women? Do you really need attention that bad? I think the terrible thing is it comes down to those type of men. I'm not going to say all men because it's not all men, but it's most. Those type of men needing attention so badly that they need to talk down on their wife in front of their coworkers, DM 22-year-old somethings because she's probably busy with the kids that he had with her and he's not getting enough attention. Going to a bar and hitting on women because you're not getting enough attention from your wife. I mean, it's just like sick and twisted. It's like, why would I want to get married if that's what that is? That doesn't look fun to me at all. That looks miserable. And of course you see the articles of men who self-deleted their whole family. I mean, every day I see something. So I see all that stuff, and you ask me why I don't believe in love, like romantic love, and that's why. I mean, it's just insane. You know, it's hard for me to even wrap my head around, right? So it's just crazy. So you have to ask yourself, is it all worth it? Is all of that worth it? Having someone go and embarrass you at their job, I mean, DM 22-year-old something girls, is that all really worth it? For what, really? So again, like I said, you're seeing all of that, and it just really cements what you're already seeing from your perspective with how men behave. Not all, but most, like I said. But yeah, like you have to ask yourself, is this going to be my life? I'm going to get married, put all this time with this person. Is this going to be what happens to me? And that's why obviously I didn't answer, because that's terrible what that guy did. And then I had a guy recently, I was at a bar. He goes, oh, I want kids. I was just sitting next to him. We got in like a whole conversation. It was this random guy I met at a bar. He's like, oh, I really want kids. And I replied with, well, then you should adopt one. And he looked at me like I had 5 heads. Well, you want a kid, just go and adopt one. You can just go adopt a kid, right? He's like, well, isn't that the woman's job to just stay home and take care of the kids? What? There's plenty of men out here who are single dads. What the hell are you talking about? There's plenty of families who the woman's the breadwinner and the dad stays home and takes care of the kids. the family dynamics have changed. What the nuclear family once was isn't that today. There's not many families that are nuclear families. Families are all different. They're all different shapes and sizes. They're just different. That's why even ABC Family remarketed to Freeform, So it's just weird to me that in 2025, we still have men saying that. When he said that to me, I just looked at him and laughed. I looked at him and laughed because I couldn't imagine just being that narrow-minded. That's not really who I am. But yeah, it just sounds like miserable. I wouldn't want that for myself. But if you don't believe me, I guarantee you every woman in your life has a bad story about men and dating men and experiences with men. Ask your wives, ask your girlfriends, ask your sisters, ask your friends that are girls. Trust me, someone will have a bad story. Even ask your mom. My mom has plenty too. She's told me plenty too, which obviously I'm not going to share on here because she told me that. But she has stories too. Every woman in your life will have one. So, I know some men will say, oh, well, there's women that are bad too. There's women that are bad too. I'm not denying that. I'm not saying that there's women that aren't bad too. There are women out there that are bad and treat men bad, but there's a lot of men that treat women bad. And I would go to say it's the majority of men. Well, it might not be all men. I believe it's the majority of men. And what I'm saying here is you could say, oh, is it that they have so many options, right? With dating apps and social media and stuff. I don't think it's that at all. I think it's a lack of self-control, self-worth, and immediate gratification. That's what I see are the three common themes with these men. They have no self-worth, so they go to women, and then they have no self-control, so they're cheating on their wives, whatever, girlfriends. They want immediate gratification. They want something that immediately makes them feel good. Think about almost when you get like a sugar rush, something like that. So no, I don't think it's because they have so many options, because this has been going on since the dawn of time, right? Cheating, men embarrassing the women that they're dating or the women that they're married to. This has gone on since the dawn of time. So no, I don't think it's because they have more options. And also, it's not just the emotional toll, too. It's the physical toll. When someone cheats on you, they're putting your health at risk. You don't know if they use protection. Even if they did, they could still give you something. And that's putting your health at risk. And for me, I would hate that if I was dating someone and they did that to me, because you're putting my health at risk. You're affecting my mental health. You're affecting my physical health, because if you give me something that's incurable, my life, is pretty much altered forever. So yeah, I just don't really see the payoff. But again, they don't really care if they can just do that all willy-nilly. And they don't really care if they're putting your physical health at risk along with your mental health. So something I want to talk about is boundaries. So this is why having boundaries with people is so important. This whole situation, when someone does something like that to you, you leave the first time. I know that you might be emotionally attached to them and you might feel sad, but you leave the first time because it is going to happen again. I always believe once a cheater, always a cheater. The thing is, if you confront them about it and you're like, oh, we're all good, they're just going to get better at hiding it so that you don't find it the next time. And they're just going to get a lot better at lying. So you are not a bitch for having boundaries. If you have not heard that from somebody, you are not a bitch for having boundaries. You can leave whenever. So for me, I had to learn to set boundaries, and this is not something that I was taught at all. I had major anxiety around setting boundaries with people because I thought people wouldn't like me. I was very much a people pleaser when I was younger, and I was just worried, oh, are people not going to like me if I say no or say that I don't want to do this, or if I set this boundary with them, are they not going to like me? And I realized 9 times out of 10, people are more focused on themselves than they are focused on you. They're not focused on you, they're focused on them. So at the end of the day, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and love yourself and be like okay with who you are. So if you're setting those boundaries and it's benefiting you, do it. Do it. I started having boundaries with people and I feel so much better about myself at the end of the day, because you want to know why? Boundaries show that I respect myself and that I have a high sense of self-worth. That's what boundaries show. I'm not a bitch for having self-respect and self-worth. So you're not a bitch for setting boundaries with people. So it's also okay to set boundaries with friends. I know this is like a hot topic, but with my friends, some of my friends that I've had, they are never on time for anything. Like, we'll make plans to do something and they're just never on time and they're wasting my time. I feel as though that wasting someone's time is the most disrespectful thing you can do to somebody because they can't get it back. I'll repeat that. It is so disrespectful to waste somebody's time because they can't get it back. You can't get back time you've lost. The only thing you can do is save your time in the future. What I mean by that is that you can cut it off there and you don't need to waste any more time on that person or have them wasting more of your time. So like I said, I have friends who have done that and I just have said to them, hey, really like hanging out with you. I just want to get on the same page with timing. I like to be on time to things. If you don't, that's fine. I get it. It happens every once in a while, people being late. But if it's a pattern, I won't be friends with that person. I'll be like, listen, you're a very nice person, but I just think it's best that we don't make plans anymore. And that's not me being mean or being a bitch. So people are like, oh my God, she's such a bitch for that. I'm not a bitch for having a boundary. You are never a bitch for having a boundary. I'll die on that hill. Also with guys. So I have some guy friends, right? And the thing is, if your guy friends find you attractive, something I used to struggle with in high school and in college a little bit is I was just like, oh, well, I don't really know if I can say no to like, if they ask me on a date or something because they're my friend. You can most definitely say no if you're not attracted to that person. Most men don't go on dates with women that they don't find attractive. So you can most definitely say no. And I've had guys who I've become friends with be like, hey, I really like you, I have feelings for you, and I won't have feelings for them at all. It's okay to be like, no, I don't have feelings for you. You don't need to be mean about it too when you're setting a boundary. So something I like to say is, I really like hanging out with you, but I don't want to hook up with you. Like, I really like hanging out with you, but I don't want to hook up with you. And that kind of sends a message to them like, oh, okay. If they want to throw a toddler temper tantrum, then don't be friends with them because that's someone who is not in control of their emotions and probably someone you shouldn't be friends with long-term anyways. And that should be your sign to walk away, because if you tell them that and they throw a temper tantrum, then they weren't really your friend anyways. They were just some guy waiting around to fuck you. So probably better off not to be their friend anyways, because they weren't a friend all along. But again, you're not a bitch for that, for setting a boundary, because at the end of the day, you will have self-respect and self-worth that cannot be taken away from you. No one can take that away from you when you set boundaries with people. So again, this was like a hard lesson to learn for me. And you're being assertive. You're not being mean. It's not being mean, okay? You're not teasing them or being mean. You're just respecting yourself. Be like, oh, I can't say that because she's gonna think I'm a bitch. Listen, that person doesn't feel guilty for wasting your time or wanting access to your body. So you shouldn't feel guilty for setting a boundary. It is quite literally that simple. And like I said, you don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't owe them anything. Just because someone likes you or a guy invites you on a date, invited you over, buys you a drink, you don't owe them anything. Even if you think, oh, well, buying drinks, it sets this expectation. No, it doesn't. You can take the free drink, say thank you. You don't need to go home with them at the end of the night. Who's setting that expectation? You. You are. And you don't need to go home with them. It's quite literally that simple. You can accept the free drink, say thank you very much. You don't need to go home with them. You have a brain and two legs. You can decide what to do with both of those things, okay? But setting boundaries are healthy, and it's good to set boundaries. You are not a welcome mat that someone can walk all over and rub their gross ass feet on, okay? You're not a welcome mat that someone can rub their dirty, muddy shoes on. You're not a welcome mat. And that is what you are when you don't have boundaries with people. You are a welcome mat. You do not want to be a welcome mat, okay? So again, with going back to what I was saying with the holidays and being single, people get engaged, married around the holidays a lot. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on single people. Oh, well, why didn't you bring someone to Christmas? Or why didn't you bring someone to Thanksgiving dinner? Or why didn't you bring someone to Christmas Eve? I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't fucking want to. There's nothing wrong with being single. I would rather be single than be with someone who embarrasses me on the daily, okay? It is more advantageous to be single than be with someone who's embarrassing you on the daily, all right? So, since we're on the topic of love, we need to talk about the love I have for my country of New Jersey, okay? There is such a sense of Jersey pride when you are from New Jersey, right? We love our bagels. We love our pizza. There's so many things to do in New Jersey. You have the boardwalk, you have mountains, you have Cape May, you have the beach. You have so many amazing, cool things to do and see. You have a concert venue. You can go into Newark at the Prudential Center. There's so many things to do in New Jersey that are so cool and amazing. Of course, we have so many famous people from Jersey too. We have Bruce Springsteen, we have Bon Jovi, we have Charlie Puth, we have Frank Sinatra, we have influencers as well. Many influencers from New Jersey, one of them being Alex Earl, very notable influencer who's from New Jersey. We don't pump our own gas, right? We pump our fists. But there's such a pride around being from New Jersey and being a Jersey girl. There's such a pride to it, right? I would argue that New Jersey has the most pride out of any state. I can't think of another state that's on par with New Jersey for the amount of pride we have in this small little state. So, going off of that, Jersey pride, I always say, is like Tinkerbell's pixie dust, right? It rubs off on people. And it rubs off on people in ways you don't even think. So, it definitely rubbed off on my cousins. So we used to have a family vacation every year, and my cousins would come down to the Jersey Shore. And this year in particular, we stayed in Monmouth Beach, and we're at this big house. It's right across the street from Little Monmouth. We rented it out, and it was our annual family vacation that we went on in the summer. And my one cousin was like, I want to go down to Seaside Heights to the Shore Store. Now, this was at the peak of Jersey Shore, the TV show, right? So they were working at the Shore Store. It was like 2010. It was a huge deal. So she's like begging my aunt all weekend long, we need to go, we need to go. So we all get in the car one day. Mind you, this car does not have any GPS. So we drive down from Monmouth Beach to Seaside Heights. I don't know how like 11-year-old me was like Lewis and Clark with the directions. I didn't even need GPS. I got us from Monmouth Beach all the way down to Seaside Heights. I got us from Monmouth Beach all the way down to Seaside Heights with no GPS, no nothing, just my Lewis and Clark mind. I don't even know how I did it. So we get down to Seaside Heights, and we go to the Shore Store. My cousin picks out these sweatpants, which like she wore these for years. Okay, the sweatpants were tired. Okay, she wore these for literal years. I picked out this sweatshirt with like paw prints on it. Like, who did I think I was? I feel like I was like in my little Kesha girl era. I also had a feather in my hair earlier this year. Like, I was really giving Kesha. And I also had glittery eyeshadow from Claire's. I wanted to be Kesha, I swear. But so I got those. I got like the sweatshirt, and she got her sweatpants, and we went to the Jersey Shore house. We took pictures in front of it. They were all so excited, and they were like, oh my God, like we love New Jersey. So being from Jersey, it's almost like you're Tinkerbell, and you have pixie dust, and it rubs off on people, and you get other people to love New Jersey who aren't even from New Jersey. But Jersey pride is a real thing. I love being a Jersey girl. You can take the girl out of Jersey, but you can't take the Jersey out of the girl, which is something I always say. But I think a rite of passage of being from New Jersey is you have to have at least one crazy, insane work story, right? So here's mine. Let's get into it. So in high school, right before I went to college, I worked at this beachfront restaurant, right? It used to get so busy. We used to see like 800 people a night. It was insane. So I'm working one night, and I'm like super tired, right? Because I used to work like 7 days a week. I worked in a boutique, and I worked at this restaurant on the weekends. And this was during the summer before college. And I was so tired. And one of my servers dropped something off in the hostess stand. So she drops off this little thing. And I'm just kind of like picking it up like this, like looking at it. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I look at my other hostess who's with me. I'm like, do you know what this is? She's like, no. And so we put it back down the stand because other people came in and we had to seat them. So we seat the other people. We get like another rush of people come in. And then I go back over to the stand. I'm like, pick it up. Still trying to figure out what it is. And at that moment, my general manager comes behind the hostess stand, and he picks it up and he starts playing with it. He's like, what is this? I'm like, I don't know. One of the servers dropped it off. So a few more people come in. And then my manager's still behind the stand, and I go back over, and this woman's up there, and she's like an older woman, and she's like, hey, I'm looking for my husband. I'm like, okay, well, what is he wearing? What does he look like? She's like, no, you don't understand. I'm like, what do you mean I don't understand? So my manager's playing with this thing, and she goes, that's my husband. I go, what? She goes, that's my husband's ashes. That's his urn. We come in 3 times a week to eat together. I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, I can't believe I forgot him. My manager's in shock, right? His mouth is like hanging open, pretty much could have caught a fly in his tongue. He's like, my coworker's like, I don't even know what to say. So I pluck the urn out of my manager's hand, like literally pluck it out of my manager's hand. And I'm like, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I hand it to her. I'm like basically speechless. She goes, where's the picture? I go, what picture? She goes, I had a picture of my late husband taped to the urn. I'm like, ma'am, I honestly have no idea. I am so sorry. Have a great night. And she was just like, yeah, I can't believe I forgot him. We go out to dinner 3 times a week together. I can't believe I forgot him here. I can't believe you forgot him here either. I can't believe an urn was sitting on my hostess stand. What? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Insane. I felt really bad for her. She was like an older woman. She just came in by herself to eat with her husband, her late husband, in the urn. And she had a picture of her late husband taped to the urn. I mean, insane. Just insane. I literally salute you, all of my service workers, my customer service people, my retail workers over the holidays, because wow, like, I'm telling you, I salute you people, because that is such a tough job. People don't realize unless they've done it. It is such a tough job dealing with the general public, and you always have some crazy stories. But I salute all of you. I hope everybody watching has a great holiday season with your friends and your family. If you celebrate Christmas, whatever you celebrate, Hanukkah, I hope you have a great holiday season. Alrighty. Bye, guys.